This is Blade Method Mindset, episode 18, with Corey Allen and me, Chris Trainer. Hello, Corey.
Hello, Chris.
All right, and we've got a very special guest on the show today. My friend, longtime Blade member, Mikey V.
Mikey!
Thanks, man. I'm super psyched to be here, and I'm it's an honor to be sitting with you guys. Two inspiring people.
Yeah,
the honor's ours.
Likewise, my man. And I think Mikey takes the cake of guests so far because
Mikey brought a gift. Mikey came with gifts. LaCroix, a box of LaCroix.
A full box.
To the podcast, set it down on the table. I mean, honestly, I feel like that's how it should be at all times. So we're just putting that out there to our next guest that you got to top Mikey now.
Yeah, and
great product placement as well.
We haven't heard from LaCroix at all, and so I was very close to bringing out a Dasani water. And Mikey saved the day with his full box of LaCroix. Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that on display.
Yep, it's there. So, but I think we're starting to catch some radar from him. I think maybe coming soon here. I'm expecting the email anytime soon. Corey at CrossFitBlade.com.
Yeah, baby steps.
Yeah, that's right.
Soon we'll have a mountain.
Yeah, we have tons of LaCroix in here.
Mike is also wearing a Blade shirt, so.
Oh, yeah, got
Mike's repping. He did a good job. He's ready
Absolutely.
to rock.
He's no stranger to this type of deal. All right, Mikey, well, you got an amazing story, and we're going to get into that. But I think first and foremost, let's just kind of catch up on who you are. You are from the East Coast. And
yes, sir.
I'll let you fill in everyone else on the details.
Yeah, man. Born in Bergen County, New Jersey. About an hour.
Bourbon, like the whiskey?
Bergen. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. I came from a town called Ridgefield. Go Royals.
What is that?
It's a high school there, Massachusetts.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's about an hour west of Manhattan. And, over there, things are much, much different. But I moved out of there when I was young. I think we came here in like 92. And how we got here was kind of interesting. But it's just crazy how much different it is in Arizona compared to the East Coast and in New Jersey. You know what I mean? Like, it's just wild. Like,
it's a completely different place.
Absolutely.
And if you travel to another country overseas, if you go to Germany, there's different parts of Germany,
mm-hmm.
Or Italy, there's different parts of Italy. The states aren't all the same,
Right.
Where we're sitting at right now in this suburbia area, if, compared to New Jersey, my sister lived in New York for about 10 years, it's just insanely different.
That's right. You get it. So, I still to this day try to get my family to come over here. I'm like, time is the ultimate thing in life,
Yeah.
So when I find out that it takes you an hour just to commute, on a ferry across the Hudson, or take a subway, and that the living space is like a quarter of what you have in a home here. Like, I tell people, I've got my own driveway and I could fit 2 cars in it. And
it's like nuts, right?
What?
Compared to back there. Yeah. There's no way, dude. There's so many people on a subway. I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
It's like my biggest fear of being with that many people all the time.
8-hour day at the office, and then
hour
2 to 3 hours of commuting through different.
That sounds awful.
Do you know the I-95 freeway?
So
Connecticut to New York, or
I'm not super familiar. Because obviously, I came out here when I was 5, but I would go back and visit so regularly, that I'm super familiar. But no, I'm not going to be on top of the roads and.
Well, my brother lives in Connecticut and has to commute in New York and Connecticut, and so he drives I-95 to work, and it's white knuckle driving the whole time. And my brother's got an amazing job. He's an architect. He works for one of the top architects in the country, designs towers, flies on a helicopter across Manhattan and private jet to Chicago to work on towers, and he's given it all up to move back to Kansas. Because my brother's an incredibly talented architect, and he can kind of write his own ticket and do whatever he wants, but at the same time, he's got a job that any architect would drop a hat and do anything for. He's like, I need to get out of here.
Really? Just because from that?
Just raising his kids in Connecticut and all that stuff.
The travel and stuff like that.
All right, Mikey, let's get back to you, my man.
All right. I came here when I was 5, and I've just kind of lived here ever since. It's funny. I grew up around 35th and Greenway, not too far from here, and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. What high school did you go to?
So I was going to say, now it's time for Corey's quintessential question.
What high school did you go to?
Oh, I'm sorry. Greenway.
Did you go to
High
Greenway?
School.
Oh, okay. When did you graduate?
It was 05.
05. Greenway 05. Oh, I'm trying to think if I knew anyone from Greenway in 05.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 08. I'm Jessica Lerner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know
Okay.
Jessica.
There you go. See, there you go. That's
Yeah.
the only person. She used to date one of my buddies. I don't know a lot of other guys from Greenway.
6 degrees of separation.
Look at that. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I have to tag her on Facebook or something.
Yeah, I know.
She's gonna come listen to this for sure.
Listen. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anyone else I would know, but yeah, we used to play them in baseball a lot.
So what did you do as a kid? I mean, out here in Arizona, did you grow up playing sports, music? I know you like music.
Yeah, my earlier years, I was in a lot of recreational sports. You know, I did baseball, soccer. I even tried wrestling. You know, for a while in like junior high school.
Yeah.
Once I got older and I started. You see, fun fact about me, I've partial hearing loss in both ears.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So in my younger years, I was bullied quite a bit. You know, I was the deaf kid. I'd get picked last, on the sports teams and stuff. And
Did you wear a hearing aid?
Yeah, absolutely. I had 2 hearing aids that I still own to this day. But, the hearing aids, like for anyone that has worn them will tell you, at least analog, like what I grew up using is, it just sounds like there's a radio going on 24/7. And you hear static, and then it can't pick up the dynamics of everyday life. So, like, I could be sitting here talking to you guys, and I can hear you great, but it's just not worth, like, the bang and the pop and how bad it hurts, like, if Halo or Murph was to bark. It just can't handle the instant loud sounds and the static and airflow.
Better off just having them off and not talking to people, right?
I'd rather say what 20 times to you than sit there and wear those hearing aids. I absolutely cannot stand them.
Mikey always thinks that he's mean to people, or people think he's mean because half the time he doesn't hear them.
Yeah.
So everyone that listens to this can be like, "Oh, he's such a nice guy."
Yeah.
I swear.
He never says hi to me.
Yeah, he never says hi.
Well, you know what it is? I mean, the community of Blade is so wonderful. Like, I think it's one of the strongest qualities of the gym. One of many. But, when you're not sure what you're going to get, when you go out and go, "Hey, how are you?" Because I have that quality. Like, I do. I want to walk into the room and just say, "Hi, it's nice to meet you." But sometimes you don't know if you're going to get a very faint, quiet person or if you're going to get someone who responds the same way.
Yeah.
And then, after you're deaf for 32 years, you're just kind of like, man, I don't really want to put myself in that situation where...
I don't know what we're going to do. Yeah.
So I'm usually more reserved in the beginning because I'm kind of listening and trying to figure out, is this a person that I can even really thoroughly communicate with?
Yeah. No, I hear that. And actually, Mike, you've never come up to the whiteboard and go, what are we doing? So I would have never known that you're hard of hearing because you're never one of those people that comes up to the whiteboard after I thoroughly explain everything and ask what's
There's
going
a bunch of able hearing people that
So
don't hear the whiteboard.
what are we doing? It's like, did you just miss that whole?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely look at the workout early because I want to know, like, how bad you guys are going to ruin my life that night. But it's funny. I mean, I'm still notorious. I'm sure I've come up in you guys' coach conversations about being notorious for not signing into class. Like, I'm the worst.
You've been better at it though.
Yeah,
lately.
not lately.
Lately, I've been on top of it.
Yeah, you have been on top of it lately.
It's this year. I'm telling you, listening to you guys and your podcast truly does make a difference. I want to say that. I'm back on my water game every morning with Chris's chug shares on Insta.
There you go.
And I'm really just more determined this year than I ever been. And I think a lot of that has to do with having something this neat to like surround yourself with on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
You're always listening to 2 inspirational, extremely fit, healthy individuals, and they keep you in that mindset and wanting to keep yourself, So it makes a difference.
Beautiful.
That's awesome, man.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
That means a lot.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Clocking into class is one of those things I'm trying to do. Like, I've been doing it the night before while I'll ride the bike for 20 seconds, cool down.
Yeah.
Sign up for tomorrow at 6:30.
There you go.
Trying
That's
to get
the way
into
to do
a
it.
routine.
While you're still in there, hit that sign up button for the next class.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So getting picked on as a child, it stunk. It wasn't fun. So in junior high school, I feel like I really I just had this desire to be cool. I wanted to fit in. And that's when it all began. Once you start getting older and you start wanting to fit in more, I think I became a lot more concerned about, what do people think of me so much that one day my buddy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I started playing this guitar and, I heard that you're really into music." I totally lied. I'm like, "Oh yeah, man, I've been doing it for a while." I didn't know how to play a single instrument. I didn't know, he goes, "What do you play?" I'm a singer. Never sang a song before in my life. And his name was Hans Meyer. He held me accountable. I mean, he's like, every week, dude, let me come over and play the guitar for you. Like, finally, I had to
tell him the truth. I can't sing, bro.
All right. Well, no, I didn't. Like, I went through with it. Like, he showed up, and then he started playing his guitar, and I'm like, well, listen, Mike, you're either a phony or you're going to be a singer now. Like, so I just started writing things about, like, feelings, and then I just tried singing, and I wasn't good at it. I was horrible at it. But it's kind of like, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I convinced myself I was something.
Yeah.
So long story short, I mean, we go down the path of music through high school. I decided it was either, I signed up to do the freshman football thing. I went to the summer course, like the prep for high school, and the band was starting at the same time. We were fortunate. Chester Bennington came from our high school,
Oh, yeah.
Shaded Gray, which is now Digital Summer, which is a popular local act around here. They came from our high school. I was fortunate to have, friends that were very, very good.
Yeah.
So eventually I didn't have to fake it. I eventually started making it.
Making it, right?
That's
awesome, dude.
Took the music route in high school, and it just kind of went down a path of... It was unhealthy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because once you start to get successful, I mean, we were fortunate enough to play the Warped Tour.
Wow.
We started making some
big
royalties
shows
off of our albums, and like it was to a spot where I'm like, I'm gonna be a rock star. Like, I know
that's what I'm gonna do.
It started ruining my attitude.
Are you 18? Like what? How old are you at this point? 18, 20, 19?
I think when our band was called We Own the Sky, and I think we started to do real well maybe when I was around 22.
Okay.
So after you had graduated?
Yeah. The high school thing was like we would play shows at places called the Bash on Ash or Club Evolution, and that was like a once a month thing, and like it was cool because all your high school buddies
would come to it. Yeah.
But it started getting serious probably in the young 20s, and the problem is that once you're so convinced that you make it, like it gave me an ego. It ruined, like I felt like I was just not a healthy person. When I think back, at the time I thought I was the greatest gift to the world, and I was full of myself, and I had what I think today is a poor attitude.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And
get that hindsight out for myself all the time.
Yeah, but what's interesting is like I ended up here in Arizona because for those that don't know, I lost my father in 2008, and he passed away from a heart attack. He's the iconic New Yorker, okay? Like the New Yorker that isn't gonna survive here. It's just not gonna work. He's just too forward, loud, like says what he's thinking.
No matter what.
You don't.
Benitez is what? What's that background? That's
Greek.
Yeah,
my grandfather came over from Greece, and even though we lived in New Jersey, my father worked commercial sanitation, but he worked the night shift in New York. Yeah. I'm talking Manhattan. The bad stuff goes on at night there. And at that time...
commercial sanitation is notorious for not being the most legitimate business. And
exactly.
So is that what we're getting into?
Absolutely. We ended up dealing with a lot of things that went through, just like you said, through... Commercial sanitation was mafia related, related, stuff like that. A lot of crooked stuff went down, so they were always on the streets at night, and garbage trucks out there, it wasn't like how we have today. You don't roll up and have an automated system. You've got one guy hanging off the back, one guy driving, and a ton of sketchy stuff happens at night. So basically, when it was all said and done, out there in commercial sanitation, things are run by the union. And for those listeners who don't know what the union is, like they pay for all the benefits, and they handle the raises, and
they control everything.
Exactly. So basically, what happens is every 4 years out there, like strikes. It's just it's just part of the process, and part of that involves them standing along picket lines and chanting, and sometimes getting aggressive. And the things that were happening back then in the early '90s. They were throwing Molotov cocktails. It was actually a thing. Like they would throw those at the trucks as they drove by, and it was just an accident. But one got thrown, and it went into the actual cab of the truck.
Jeez.
So this guy jumps out, and he's okay. He survives. We're good. but the truck's totaled. My father and my uncle, who worked on the truck together, were accused
of throwing.
They were accused of throwing. Yep. Still to this day, like, none of us truly know if he ever did that.
Did he really
like,
throw it or not?
No, I mean, I asked my mother, and she's not even sure.
Really?
But for a long time, you know, we had to deal with a court process, and the union would represent us, and you know, it ended up resulting in problems for him because the owner of the company obviously hated him, and he got blackballed, and so he couldn't get a job. And after the court case went on, we ended up having to kind of pursue them for, you know, what is that, litigation? You know,
right.
like, and we ended up getting a settlement case because the witness who said they saw him throw it was like too much time had gone by and he just couldn't get his facts straight. So he ended up winning a settlement of like, you know, $20,000. And ironically, we still struggled because he couldn't get a gig anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But oddly enough, one day a paper falls into his hands. There's legitimately a hit out for him. Like, someone put a hit, and we still to this day think it was the owner just out of bitterness of the court case.
Right.
Him losing so much
Newspaper?
money. No, a hit. Like, there was a hit out to have him murdered.
What paper fell in his hands?
Back then, they had, like, these weird, you know, it's almost like a flyer. As ridiculous as that sounds, you know, but he ended up seeing it. And my mother was terrified. You know, she would walk out of the apartment watching over her shoulder. It just became too much. You know, and they decided that it was a great opportunity to take the settlement and move.
And get out.
Go to Arizona. So we still to this day, we're like, come on, like, we were just some small time family. Like, you really think the mafia is going to come after, you know, some guy who no one knows, like, just because some dude in your industry is bitter about how a court case went down?
Well, yeah.
Maybe. You never know.
Yeah, you're right. You never know. We were scared, you know, so we left. But it got interesting because the FBI got involved because they ended up finding out that they were able to kind of put the case together and see that, well, you know, my father was a resource to them because they came over, brought a big old black book and basically said, do you know these people? You know, they had some pretty big cases they were working on, and turns out that everybody in that book, my dad's like, I see him all the time on the street. I know him.
Yeah.
He knew so many of them that, I mean, the FBI were literally willing to put us into like a witness program. It just got crazy.
Yeah. Jeez.
So, you know, I mean, there's obviously lots of details to that, but we got out of there. We wanted to restart over.
Yeah.
So my grandmother was already here. You know, she relocated. So we skipped the whole witness protection option. We came down to Arizona, and for a while things were rough. Like, I think for maybe a few years, my sister, me, my mom, and my dad all shared one bedroom on a bunk bed. Me and my sister would sleep on the top, and they would sleep on the bottom.
Wow.
Until we got situated, and you know, here we are.
Yeah.
Incredible. So that's an incredible. Is that that's like Gotti era?
That is, yes.
Yeah. So is that the family that was messed up in this? I mean, is that the owner of the truck, or?
You know, I wish I knew. Like, I don't know the details about the owner of the sanitation company, so I don't know if he was related to them or if he was just connected to that, you know, family, like through friendships or, you know, I mean, keep in mind at the time this stuff is going down, I'm like 4 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I just, obviously, as you grow older, you want to know where you came from and the history of your family, you know, so I ask questions. It's funny, I had to sit down last night and be like, God, it's been so long since I thought about this and make sure that I have my timeline of events right.
Everything's straight. That's crazy, dude.
Absolutely,
Wow.
yeah. So, but you know what? Every bad thing that happens, there is like sunrise on the other side.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like
For
I
sure.
love being here. You know, I love my life today. Like,
Yeah.
it sucks that my family had to deal with that at that time, but
you got out of New York and moved to Arizona, and you don't have to deal
I
with
love
the
it here.
Yeah.
negative.
I love it here
degrees.
too, man. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking on my walk today. It was like, man, it is a polar vortex in three quarters of
You're
the
walking
country.
your dog. People are dying walking. They're not, like walking to the car and back, and
Right.
that's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, my
Crazy.
man. So you know the story we're gonna get into next, and you know one that I think a lot of people need to hear is something that I haven't heard the whole story from you. You know, we've talked a little bit about it, but I just want to preface this by saying you can talk as much or as little about it as you want, you know, and and we'll get into it and kind of what that led to who you are today.
Sure, man. I mean, I don't mind sharing the details. Gosh, I mean, it was funny in the first few years that the accident occurred. I'd get asked the question every other day. I'd get random messages on Facebook, like from old friends I haven't talked to forever. Like, it became overwhelming how many times you'd have to explain the story over and over.
I bet.
And I think it was maybe like 3 years later, I took this vow where I'm like, I'm done acknowledging the anniversary of the event. I'm done, like, just treating it like it happened, right? Because, you got to move on. You got to grow. Mm-hmm. And then, Chris, when you asked me to share this, I was like, wow, like, it's been a while since I've had this discussion and actually went into detail. So I was like, I'm going to go ahead and just dish it all out because I would love to have like some kind of positive impact, and I think the whole point of wanting to share it is to let people know that like rock bottom can always be worse. And there's always so much to accomplish and bounce back from. And like anyone out there that thinks they're in a horrible situation or they've got it bad, like it's going to be okay. And you're going to grow. Like, if you're comfortable, you're not growing. Right. Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that's the premise of this podcast is like creating a positive impact for somebody, and
absolutely.
And there's dark times, but there's good times. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I was, it was 2012. It's still easily deemed the worst year of my life. And not just from the shooting, like it got even worse, but, that's what happened. I got shot, I got shot 2 times. And, where it went down is, we decided we're going to go to First Friday, my first time ever. Like, I love art, right? Mm-hmm. I'm in a band, I'm doing music. And so we go down to First Friday art walk downtown. And we had a good night, We hopped around. We did some drinking. Yeah. We checked out art. We listened to music. It was a wonderful. I still couldn't believe that my first Friday experience took like over 21 years.
Right.
So we had a great night. And it was ironic because I forgot my wallet that night. Uh-huh. Yet I still somehow ended up to get a good amount of liquor in me. Yeah. But anyways, we did our hopping around, and as we were strolling home, I was with a very good friend of mine named Ricky and his girlfriend Kristen at the time, and we had another gal that I just met. She was like a friend of a friend who wanted to come out with us that night. Her name was Yvonne, and the 4 of us just had a good time. And as we were walking back, Ricky and Kristen, they stopped. I think they had to go to the restroom or something funky. So I end up with this girl I barely know, and we're walking westbound on Roosevelt to Central, and there's a light rail right there. Mm-hmm. So I remember us sitting on the northeast corner as we're waiting to cross over because Ricky's house is right there. And my car is there, or if I'm going to stay the night there or whatever, like we're just trying to get back to his house. So as we were walking back, this gal is, she's bad. She's drunk. Yeah. Right? Like I can remember everything vividly, right? Mm-hmm. But she is just. Am I gonna have to start carrying her drunk? Yeah. And she decides that she's going to start running her mouth to. It was a group of about 5 to 7, African American Hispanic males, and she just starts going off. I'm like, what did they do? Like, why would you randomly start just running? Your mouth towards these people. It got weird. It turned into like this. You ever see those like rap shows where they do the little rap offs and kind of talk smack to each other type thing? Yeah. That's what they were doing. Yeah. It was so weird to me. And things just started to get kind of questionable. So I turned around and I actually took pictures of these guys while they're arguing. And I texted Ricky. I'm like, I don't think this is going to go well. Where are you at? Yeah. Get over here, dude, because I'm stuck with, an incoherent gal who is probably going to get me in a lot of trouble. Yeah. So, of course, like, things started getting heated, and I just didn't have it in me to ditch her. Yeah. I didn't have it in me.
Yeah, that's good.
So, I tried to stick around and do the hero thing and play the hero card. And, it got so bad that I was finally like, all right, we're done. We started walking off. And I think I get maybe 30 feet or so ahead of them, and we cross over Central, and we go down into Hance Park. I think it's Mary Hance Park. You ever drive down Central and between McDowell and Roosevelt, you'll see it. It's very popular because there's a lot of flags, like of different countries. It's the only park I've ever really seen that at. But we walk down, we go in there. I'm crossing through this park to get to my car, and all I hear is, well, I'm not going to drop the F-bombs, you know what I mean? But he basically tells me, turn around and give me your wallet. I just didn't really comprehend it because that doesn't happen, not often.
Yeah.
So I turn around.
Except in New York.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah. But I'm shocked. I turn around and he's got a bandana over his face, and I can tell it's one of them from the group.
Yeah.
It's almost like they let us get up far enough to then kind of bum rush us in the park. So I've got a gun to my face. Give me the wallet. And I remember it's like a long, it was funny in the police report, I refer to it as a cowboy gun. It's a revolver. And he, I tell him, listen, man, you're not going to believe this, but I don't have my wallet.
Yeah.
Like, of all the people you decided to mug,
I'm the worst one.
I forgot my wallet tonight. And where I was able to piece together that he for sure had to be from that group is he says to me, give me the iPhone. Not in this day and age do I sit there and go, hey, let me see your iPhone. Knowing you've got an Apple iPhone, right? So I know he saw me texting. I know he saw me, in the corner. I pieced it together, and I knew, after you interact with someone for 10 minutes on a street corner, you kind of get the vibe, I didn't really think he was a threat. Yeah. And I did have enough alcohol to clearly be brave enough to sit here and have a conversation with a guy while he's got a gun in my face, which is probably stupid on my part. But
what are you gonna do, though? I mean,
so instead of giving it to him, I don't know what you want it. It's got a tracker on it.
Yeah.
He didn't like that. Yeah, that's when it happened. He didn't like that at all. He ended up shooting me in my right leg. He hit me in my thigh, and all of it happened so fast that you didn't even process. You're like, I did not really just get shot right now.
Yeah.
I just kept going towards him at this point, and then he pulls the trigger again. How someone points the gun at your face and manages to hit your leg is beyond me. But he ends up hitting me the second time on the right side of my stomach. This is where I'm I go down and I'm thinking,
I got shot.
Not even. That's what's weird. Getting shot is a weird feeling. It was warm. It was really hot. And I thought I got shot with a beanbag because it knocked the air out of me. So I'm thinking, for some, again, maybe it's the alcohol. I'm he shot me with some kind of magical beanbag, some kind of, blank, something that knocks you out but doesn't really shoot you.
Yeah. That's what you're hoping for.
Right. Yeah. So I get up and I'm I'm ready to go after the guy because he's younger. We find out later on that this kid is 14.
Oh my goodness.
When we find, and I'll get to that, but I end up finding out I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
I'm shot.
Yeah.
So I laid out in the park. I just couldn't get up. I couldn't move. And I think it was sometime later that Ricky and Kristen, I started calling people. You see, when we lost my father, we don't truly know how he died. We know he had a heart attack. But we don't know. And what's weird about that is my grandfather, his dad, died a week before him. So I'm sitting here. All I could think about is my mom. I'm this poor woman. She doesn't know how she loses her husband. Now she's not even gonna know how she loses her son. So I called her and I'm she doesn't answer, so I'm leaving a voicemail, letting her know, I just got shot.
Unreal.
But I started fading out, I just couldn't stick with it, And I don't know, I don't think I was dying or anything. I think I just was in panic,
out,
in shock. So I passed out, And a couple of phone calls happened, you know, like I ended up calling Ricky or you know, some where were you at? Like they ended up fortunately finding me in this park.
Ricky found you.
Yeah, Ricky and Kristen both found me.
Is that the girl that was running her mouth?
No, that's Yvonne. And I'm glad you asked. She's there like maybe about, you know, when I say those guys are like 30 feet back, she's more like 15 because I started walking off without her because stuff got so bad.
Yeah.
And she took off. She freaked out.
Yeah.
You know, gun gets fired. Like she told the cops that she thought that group was running after her, you know, when I honestly think the group was just running away.
Yeah.
But she takes off. The police actually, in the report, you read about how they found her like a street or two down, just completely like belligerent, just crying, you know, like alone and freaking out. Like, and she even ran from the cops because she's just like in full blown freak out mode.
Yeah, seriously.
So it's, you know, and it's funny, like when I was in the hospital, I've got a great friend named Chris who was obviously freaking out. He's at the hospital and he used to play bass in my band. And I mean, this guy is just yelling at her, you know, what did you do? Like, you know, everyone's yelling at this poor girl. You know, my mom's being calm and like just playing the friend card, trying to get information out of her because everyone else wants to just scream at her. You know?
Seriously. I mean, it's hard not to. Like,
but
in the moment.
I got found at the park. You know,
so they find you and you're unconscious.
Yes.
And so, how long was that time from shot to find?
This is what's crazy is like, I've always thought that I got left there like till early in the morning. Like that's what I've been telling people for years.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I thought. And it was funny, like because I was doing this podcast with you and you asked me to share this, I'm like, listen, I need to get my facts straight.
Yeah.
So I actually pulled out the police report last night and just started reading it because when you get shot, especially when you've got alcohol, like things don't stick. Like things, they get shuffled, right?
Oh yeah.
And it turns out, like, when I'm reading the report, I didn't get left through the night. Like, I thought that the surgeon, because what they eventually told me is, you know, you were going to die from blood loss because you got left for so long. That's not the truth. It was internal bleeding.
Yeah.
You know, so I've looked into police report and they claim that if I didn't get in there when I did, I would have died.
Most certainly. Yeah.
So, you know, all I remember was, like, waking up sometime early in the morning when the cops are there, cutting my clothes off of me.
In the park still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the air unit found me. Like the helicopter found me, but they sent the ground unit. They didn't land or lift me away. But, yeah, I mean, they cut the clothes off me. I remember because Kristen, for some reason, she had this idea that she knew what she was doing. I think she just watched too much television. But she decided to stick her finger in the bowl. She's like, I'm applying pressure to it.
Yeah.
And I remember only that part. I'm like, don't effing touch me. Because it was so painful.
Yeah, seriously.
Blackout again. I don't recall waking up until I'm getting pushed down the hallway into surgery. I can't even, like, it's like I can see the person, but she's a shadow. I remember it was a gal, and I asked her, I'm like, am I going to be okay? And she tells me, that's the thing. We're trying to figure that out right now. Wouldn't even give me a lie. She wouldn't even lie to me. Yeah. So I pass out again. At the next point, I wake up in the hospital. I'm on breathing tube. Like, I was going to pull it out, and I'm so grateful the nurse was there to stop me because no, because she's got like something connected in there that it would not have went well.
Yeah.
So she quickly removes it, you know, and from there it's a recovery process. You know, I can't remember like how long I was out, but I remember stories of how hard it was. Like, I think the recovery shaped me more than the actual shooting itself, personally.
Well, it had to be just a rough road back to just being able to be a normal person.
So tough. You know, I mean, at the time, I was a server for a restaurant, in addition to, you know, and I would do that so that I could come and go to do the music thing. Mm-hmm. And what had happened was I can't walk. Like, I can't wait tables. I've got no way to make money.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, finances were a tough thing when I was a kid. So I grew up like, I'm never going to be late on a bill. And I'm always going to budget for every bill and be in line financially. Mm-hmm. You know, so I'm over here freaking out, stressing out in the hospital. Like, how am I going to pay for all these medical expenses?
Yeah.
Which eventually get covered by victims' compensation. It's a great program that Maricopa County offers for victims. I didn't pay a nickel for any of that.
Wow, that's awesome.
I was so lucky.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that till months down the road. You know? So I'm sitting here thinking, I'm so screwed.
Screwed. Just in debt for life for getting shot. Yeah.
Right. And I ended up having to be wheelchaired for a while. Had to learn how to walk again, obviously. What had happened is I got shot by 20s, or I don't know if they're 20s or 22s, whatever the smallest
22.
is.
Yeah.
The problem with the 22, and what I learned, is that they bounce.
Yeah, bounce around in you.
So when they hit me in my right thigh, it went into my right knee. And when they hit me in my right side, it bounced all the way into the left side of the inside of my pelvis.
Jeez.
And the only organ they damaged was the bladder, which doctors will tell you, like, if you can damage any kind of organ, that's the one. It's the best organ.
Damage, like to fix.
It heals the nicest,
Yeah.
But they left the bullets in me. And of course, I'm like, why would you do that? You know?
Yeah.
Because on television, they make a big deal about it. Like, get them
pull
out, get them out.
Yeah.
That's not real life.
Yeah.
They will leave the bullets in any chance if you let them.
Really?
Because you've got more of a risk hitting an artery or damaging
pull
something,
them out
trying to
and
pull
stuff.
them out.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, so I still have them in me to this day. I had a buddy who got shot in the leg once, and it eventually, like, ejected. Like,
Oh, really?
It surfaced, and he pulled it out.
You have
So
another friend that got shot?
Yeah, believe it or not, he got shot in the leg. Like, when he was actually my sister's friend, so I shouldn't say he was like my friend. I know I'm starting to sound like I hang out with the wrong people, right?
I was like, dang, dude, you gotta get some new friends.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? It's funny that you say that, because that's what Blade did for me.
Yeah.
You know, it was in some ways, like, Blade is the middle of two completely different lives that I live. Like, two different lives that I live. Like, before, I'm this arrogant, you know, self-centered person who just thinks I'm awesome. You know, like, I'm gonna be famous. Like,
Yeah.
and here I am today. Like, I am so grateful. Like, I'm so grateful to sit here with you guys. I'm so grateful you even care about my story. Like, I'm so grateful you got, like, Chris, how many times have I said, give me the instructions, man. I swear I'll come through. Like, I'm just so grateful for life, like, every day. And, you know, I've somehow, like, I got this gift throughout that process to just know that, to always find the good in something, no matter how bad it is. Like, you can always find the good. And if there is no good, just remember that bad makes you grow.
Yeah.
Like, the only way to learn in life, the only way to grow in life, you gotta be uncomfortable. Something bad's gotta happen, because it's the bad things and the uncomfortable things that you feel.
Absolutely.
And when you feel it, you learn from it. That's just kind of how it goes. So it was tough for me, you know, because I had about 2 or 3 months, like, my mother had to bathe me. You know, like, I think I was 25 at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I had to look at myself in a mirror hovering over a walker.
Yeah.
Like, go from this arrogant guy who thinks he's the next big thing to, you can't even clean yourself. You were stuck in bed, and all you can do is watch, you know, what was I watching? Lost, episodes of Lost, like, on repeat. You know, I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. Like, you know, and it was
hearing that really parallels with what Amy was saying about who she was before her accident, and then who she was after. You know, she said she's a better person before or after the accident than before.
Yeah.
You know,
I've listened to all of these podcasts so far. You know, I think it was, to be completely forward, like, I love Bro and Brosenberg. That's what I call him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I gotta listen to this, but I got OCD. Like, I can't just listen to episode, was it 14 or 13 or whatever one it was.
So
I gotta listen to them in order.
Through,
So there was a whole weekend where I just had headphones, man. I'm just listening to you guys all the way through.
It's awesome,
you know.
dude.
And then when Amy came on, I had not had the honor or the pleasure of shaking her hand, talking to her, even meeting her. But I mean, just throwing this out there, Amy, if I could wear your medals,
that would be sweet. Yeah.
that's, you know, I'd be satisfied for quite some time. That's. But I listened, and I think that was my favorite. You know, they're all very good, but I resonate with her a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. You have to. I mean,
and I don't
that.
compare to her, man. Like, I'm still blessed to be able to walk around and do things that, I mean, she's 10,000 times the person that I could ever be, you know. But listening to her story, like, it was funny. I was telling Jacqueline at home, I can tell what she's trying to say to them. Like, it's almost like I felt like I could talk in a different language with her.
Yeah.
Like, I knew what she was trying to get out and say and how it feels. It's just
something that only someone that's been
through something like that.
Moments from death that has come out of it could understand.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But yeah, I mean, she's an inspiration. I mean, that was just a great episode.
Well, you got shot in 2012. You came into Blade in 2013.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, and I remember you walking through my office, and that's when you told me that you'd been shot, and that,
I wanted to come back from it.
Yeah. And that was old Blade, and I was still in that back office that went to the kids' room, and we weren't the gym that we are today as far as size, and you came in and it was like, all right, we're gonna get this guy, to where he wants to be, and what was that like for you, and what attracted you to Blade?
Oh my gosh! Like it's funny. I give you the short version. I was 230 pounds. This was
the guy. If you're watching on YouTube, the guy you're seeing right now, even when he came into Blade, I mean, not even close to the same person.
Were you a bigger guy before the accident?
Man, I think my muscle percentage was. I mean, it had to be close to like 0. Like my body fat to muscle ratio was bad. So when I say 230 pounds at 5'9", like
it was 230 pounds.
I was chubby. Like I didn't have the muscle under there or anything.
And were you always a bigger boy, or before the accident? Not you gained a lot of weight after the accident.
It was probably around 19 that I started packing on the pounds. My metabolism slowed down. I do come from a family that's a little heavier set. Like I'm not blessed at all. Like if I go spend 2 weeks in Europe, like I'm gonna put on some pounds. Like
me too.
But it's. I completely lost my train of thought.
Well, coming. So
your overweight came into Blade,
right?
Yeah.
So I leaned on the Insanity program. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Sean T.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
And I preached this Insanity program because the first time I did it, I lost weight. Like I got down. But here's the thing. Like I think I had to be consuming 1,300 calories. Like it was metabolic suicide. Is what it was. Didn't know what I was doing. Just work ethic, no wisdom.
Right.
Yeah. And then I put the weight back on from the shooting. I wanted to lose it. You guys know. I mean, there's nothing worse than like accomplishing that loss and then putting it all back on because you have to lose it again.
Right.
Like that's frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Wasn't working the second time. Insanity wasn't working anymore.
Didn't happen again.
And I had these guys at Culinary Dropout where I was working at the time. They would go to a place called CrossFit Blur, and they would just preach CrossFit. And I'm like, nah, man, you guys got to do Insanity. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, they must have been laughing at me so much. But finally, I was desperate. I'm like, you know what? It's time for a change. Something has to work. Like, this is not working. And, I work for a digital marketing agency called Rhino, and I see across the street a CrossFit sign. Right over there on, was it a 19th and Williams by the newspaper?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm like, screw it. I'm going to just try it. Go in. This place is called CrossFit Untouchable. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what...
They're not open anymore, so we can
correct. Trust me. I'm gonna tell the truth about this. It needs to be heard. But, I mean, it's one of those things that I didn't know the quality of a box or a gym. Like, it was the first place I ever went to, and I just did it, And I went there because when I'm doing Google for a living and searching... I did a search on maps, and Blade did not pop up.
Yeah.
Like, I looked at gyms in my vicinity.
Yeah.
And Untouchable was the cheapest one. That's honestly how they got me.
Yeah.
It was convenience of location and cost.
Yeah.
I'm floating around on Facebook, and this gal at the time mentions Blade. I'm like, I researched them all.
Yeah, like they're not there. Yeah.
Never heard of this one.
Yeah.
So I do the search, I Google, and I find it. I'm like, this is literally around the corner
from where I'm at right now.
This box looks rad. Like they've got this green turf and like this little like kind of track.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Go in there, and I tell Chris, like, this is that what you're describing. I'm like, listen, man, I swear I've got the work ethic. I'm like, this is what I can afford and this is what I can do. Like I'm telling you, I'll be here 5 days a week, and if you just give me the instruction manual, I will do it. And I knew I made an oath. And I think that's exactly how it went down. You know, I made sure, because you told me, you're like, if you're going to do this, like, you know, we're all about community here. Like, I want you to be engaged. Like, I loved that. Like, it was like, hey, look, if you're going to show up one day a week, like, come on, man. Like, if you want me to work with you on things, like, come in here and let me truly coach you to become a better person.
Yeah.
That got my attention. I came in and tried it. We warmed up as a class. See, you guys are just nodding your heads like...
Oh, I know what goes on. That's how places.
Yeah, we've been to enough
Nah, not there.
Yeah.
I mean, there, like, you could try and wipe that warm up off the whiteboard. It will not come off.
Yeah.
Because it's been the same warm up day in, day out. And, you know, I mean, they had a community. Like, I'm not trying to bash on them. But when you compare, like, you know, a box that warms up and tailors the warm up to the movements and strategically conditions certain days, like for strength versus cardio versus even partners, like you're not getting any of that.
Right.
It was so mind-boggling that I'm like, how have I just spent the past 5-6 months like doing this when this has been here the whole time?
Yeah.
So I jumped ship super quick.
Right.
I was ashamed. I lied to that box and I told them that I was relocating.
Yeah.
Because I was
downstream.
I was relocating.
Yeah, relocating around the corner.
I wasn't relocating far enough to really truly switch, but Blade has been a blessing. Like, you know, that was the thing, is like, this gym is what got me right. Like, I think I truly learned how to count macros and like eat correctly at this gym. I was doing that wrong. Yeah. You know, this gym taught me how to lift. Like, do you remember the first time I did a deadlift?
Oh gosh!
You stripped that bar.
Oh yeah. Wait. Because when people CrossFit for 5-6 months, like, you kind of let them, you know,
they should know,
like find their own path, you know. But it's like, okay, crap.
Yeah. Whoa.
Rounded back. I'm still ashamed to this day, but what I think I did honing school like 2 times just to be extra sure I couldn't learn anything new. Like,
yeah, right.
But I mean, there really aren't enough words to describe. You know, I feel like I've been fortunate enough to see the different gyms, but there's you're just not going to beat Blade. It's just, I'm not just saying that. You know, I mean that. Like,
that's awesome, dude.
And so, you know, you've had not only the physical transformation, but I've seen different Mikeys over the years, and you're just like this awesome all around guy. But you've also grown up and gotten engaged at Blade. Yeah. You know, to
one of the best days of my life.
Jacqueline. And, you know, bought in a house, you know, so it's like over the past 6 years, you watch people grow up, you know, and go through careers and back injuries and time off. And you know, it's like, you know, doing life together. And it's a supreme joy, you know, to have someone like you to be able to do life with, you know, 5 days a week. So it's been a huge blessing. But what I also what brought in my mind is a member like you who tells their friends about Blade, you know, and so like the Westcombs, who John and Mallory, who have come to Blade through you. Yep. When I still remember talking on the phone with Johnny and him telling me his wife was just going to do the golden ticket and it wasn't for him.
That's right. Mal came first.
But it happened backwards. It was John that was like crazy about it, and Mallory had to kind of be. At least this is what I heard.
Yeah. That is what happened. But like, Johnny's this awesome, amazing guy that came to Blade, and
incredible human being.
And then obviously Mallory as well. But they've infected so many people. Oh yes. And all these relationships. They're friends with so many people at Blade and have like their own crew and community, and they've brought people to the gym, and then Neighbors, who you brought to the gym, who was the same thing. Awesome dude. Like, Neighbors was a member at the gym for like a month, and he was helping us move the entire gym across, like screwing in things for decorations and just helping everywhere he could. And obviously it took him a while because he does the Spartan races and, you know, he's a super fit guy already. So why go do CrossFit, you know, and he's just been ingrained in this community and now has his girl at Blade. And like, it's just this, you know,
and they met at Blade too.
And
they met at Blade. You're bringing people and families together, you know?
Yeah. It's just crazy to think about that relationships aspect in the lives that people are touched and created. And had you never been shot or wanted to get back or jump ship, you know, it's like we never would have met the Muscombs, we never would have met neighbors, you know. So there's so many stories like that. Like obviously we talked with the Baker Bros and their relationship and how their whole family's in Arizona now. But it's just, I love thinking about that stuff. To me, that's the creme de la creme right there.
No one's ever really explained it that way to me, but when you put it like that, it's so true, you know. And I was just telling Jacqueline the other night, like, you know, I've been thinking ever since you asked me to do this. Like, obviously, I've been thinking about things more, and I'm like, if I was to take a look at my life and where I'm at today, like, I'd feel honored to say, like, I would totally go back and get shot 2 more times. Like, you know, like to have, you know, people like that in my life and this community and you know, this gym, like, totally worth it. Like, so many things came from this gym, you know, like, you know, Andrew, we talk about Andrew. I just want to point out that Andrew sat there waiting every day for me to show up to my college class so he could wheelchair me into math.
Wow.
Because really? I couldn't move. So, like, you know, he was taking courses at the same time. I've known that guy for 19 years, and I think I've been trying to get him to do Blade for like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't need it, man. I do it all in my you know, my garage. I'm like, yes, man, I know. Like, I know you're dedicated, motivated, you know, but it's not the same. It's the community, man. Like,
exactly.
It's the ability to actually throw 225 pounds on the ground and not worry about breaking your cement floor or your weights that you spend so much money on.
And do it correctly.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and do it correctly.
And do it right.
Yeah. Just he's just an all around good dude.
Absolutely.
For sure. He makes Blade better for sure, and that's because you brought him there. You know, so. Yeah.
And you know, one thing I want to point out, because you mentioned Jacqueline, because I feel like her story it's hard to put on paper and it's hard to share, but I just want to point out that, like, CrossFit changed her too.
Oh no, I trust me, I wanted to get to Jacqueline as well. Because having you on again, I was like, man, I'm having another male guest on. I haven't, besides my wife and my business partner, I haven't had, and Amy, you know, the majority are guys. So I was like, man, I need to get a female on. But I was thinking about Jacqueline, and she is physically and emotionally, I'm sure, but you know more about that. But a completely different person. I mean, it's insane. Yeah. She wouldn't touch a barbell. She'd get scared. You know, it's like, and now she's just after those weights, like, wants to go ham. I mean, we could talk a half hour about the changes that Jacqueline's made.
Totally. Yeah. And, you know, I'll save that for, you know, if you can convince her, you know, to sit here and do this. But I will tell you. We should have
had her on as well.
We should have. I mean, she's like, I can recall the day that she filled in. She's always had a great attitude. Like, we were short a person on like an indoor soccer team once. She's like wearing heels. Like, they gave her a pair of shoes like that barely even fit her, and like she runs in there and she's just playing. Like, she never played soccer before, right? And then like she filled in on one of my like rec volleyball teams too that I was doing once. Ball comes flying at her, totally ducks. Pulls that, you know?
Yeah. Today, you're supposed to hit it with your hand. Yeah.
Not today. Like, Jacqueline today will roundhouse kick that volleyball into outer space.
For sure.
Her confidence and just... It's for sure been, like, a blessing to not just to her, but to me, too, because she's, in some ways, like... Actually, in most ways, I think she's probably stronger than me on every level. Like, she handles stress better. Like, she's my backbone, man. Like, she's my daily inspiration.
Dude. And I bring this up not to point out weakness or anything, but I bring it up to show how far she's come. She would shake the workout, like when she had to do a barbell movement, like of fear, from fear, you know. And it's now she's just getting after it every time she comes in.
She told a story for in 2016 Open during like a total bar workout. She cried legitimately. Like, she couldn't finish. She like went into the corner, sat down, and just started crying. And she said, your dad came over and just said, started to try to be supportive, but I know he was lying. She goes, he's like, he kept telling me like, oh yeah, like I've been there before. And she goes, no, you haven't. I've been here before.
Well, that's what people don't know about Lon is he has been there before.
He's got an equal way, man. Like, anytime I talk to him, he's just,
no, Lon's the whisperer. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
He's comfort, man.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
He open workout. He's the best to have. Like I love having him next to me when I work out because he's just like, 7, 8, like you're good, you're doing all right, you're okay. And like when he wants you to go, he'll kind of tell you, but not like he does keep you calm, that's for sure. Until he's real mad, then I mean he's got some pop to him. But
I'm not as blessed, as you are to have my father by my side. Like I definitely admire what you guys have. But, ironically, like I did have someone that I had to mention, Patrick Stimmel.
Yeah.
Still to this day, like I remember doing the first open, and he's sitting in my ear as I'm rowing, because we all know I can't row. Like, and he goes, "Breathe now. Breathe now." Like he's literally telling me when to breathe and what to do, and I still think to this day, like it was the best row I ever had.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He was just the whisperer for me. I love that guy.
Yeah, Patrick's another patriarch.
Yeah, Jack is doing great. I remember the other day when that totem bar workout. I remember she's like, I want to do all these totem bars. I'm like, all right, Jack, do two at a time. 2 totem bar, come down. 2 totem bar, come down. 2. She goes, okay, and then I look over and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then fall apart. And she comes over after. I go, Jack, what happened to that game plan? She goes, they felt so good at first. But she was awesome. She messaged me later and was like, hey, like I appreciated the advice. Like I should have listened and stuff. And I was like, you're fine, Jack. Like everyone does it. But it was so funny.
You should have said, I do that every day still.
I texted the
Chris
same thing.
gives me a game plan, and
I said that. I said, I literally do that same thing every single time. Don't worry about it. But yeah. What happened? I was like, oh, they felt so good at first. So, been there before.
Yeah, especially on totem bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Well, I got a mafia story.
Oh, please share it. It'll probably make me feel a little more normal.
Because I was reading that book and you messaged me, oh man, I can't wait. Or I'm from whatever you said.
Yeah, I saw the Mafia book and I'm like, you are not going to believe this.
That's kind of, so I was like, oh, I got a mob story. So I moved out here when I was 22 and started working at a Pure Fitness in Scottsdale. And I haven't told this story to anybody really.
I'm so excited right now.
Because because it's pretty crazy. So this guy, and I still worried about saying his name, even though he's done a History Channel special. They've done a whole History Channel special on the guy. Like he brought down the entire Colombo crime family. Like, and so I don't know about saying his name, even though they have his name on the History Channel. I just don't know if people know where he is.
You don't want, because
he's in Arizona. Yeah,
you should probably play it safe. I mean,
you need to say without being named.
Yeah,
he's dangerous. Obviously.
Yeah. Well, so we'd be training. So I trained him at this Pure Fitness and in Scottsdale on Shea. It's Pure Fitness sold to LA Fitness now, so I don't think that location is nothing's there. Maybe in LA Fitness, but anyways, he had a thick New York accent, like. I mean, straight out of New York town. Yeah, like everything he said. And I'm not going to attempt to do that accent. But I kind of have to. But he'd say things like, man, I miss my mom's cannolis. Like stuff like that. It's like, geez,
here we go.
Because he was like a finance guy at this point when he's out here, and he's driving like a 5 Series Beamer. And, so I just think he's in real estate or whatever he's doing. Like I'm like, dude, you're not, chill out. And
you're fake.
And so he'd say things. So that we had this big trainer at the gym. I'm not going to say his name either, but he was like a really successful trainer, like a type of trainer in Scottsdale. He's making 6 figures. He's got 12 hours in a row booked a day. Just a really successful trainer. Super cocky, arrogant guy. Real big guy. Good looking. And every time this guy would see this guy, he'd be like, I'm gonna bust his face open with a baseball bat. He'd say stuff like that. God. Yeah, and like super, and I'd be like,
oh yeah, okay,
yeah, like you're okay, whatever, dude. And so he'd say that stuff, and just all the time, stuff like that would come out about New York, about who he, tough guy, but the nicest guy in the world, loved me. like wanted me to come work for him. Thank God I didn't go work for him. But anyways, just like funny, outgoing, charismatic, super nice. Never said anything bad to me. Just super nice guy. And so I ended up leaving that Pure Fitness to go to another Pure Fitness, and then ended up coming out to Fireside where we're at right now, all within about a year. And so I still lived at Scottsdale and Shea, so I'd go work out there. When I was the fitness director up at Fireside, I'd work out at that Scottsdale and Shea, and I was doing bodybuilding at the time, so I'd go in the morning, and I'd go in the afternoon, and I was in there twice a day, and I'd always see Mike, and we were still cordial, whatever, and he stopped coming around for a while, and it was probably a good year or so since I'd seen him, and he pulls up, there's a One Stop Nutrition across the street from that gym, and I'm going to One Stop to get a shake or whatever post-workout, and he pulls up in his Beamer. He's like, Chris, come check out these jeans.
Oh no!
Come check out these jeans in the back of my trunk. And so I go back there, and he's got 500 or just stacks of jeans in his trunk. He's like, $50. I was like, no. I was like, I'm good. I'm in like a tank top, and I got an iPad on. I'm like, Mike, and he looks a little different, and so that was weird. I was like, okay, something. I don't know what you're trying to do, but I'm not buying your $50 jeans out of the thing. And so
your trunk.
Yeah, so. I don't want to. So that happens, and I can't correlate the timeline, but I bought my house in Fireside, so it's at least another year. So 2009-ish or so. I'm watching History Channel, and the reason my brother bought me that Mafia book is because he knows how infatuated I've been with the Mafia for years, and so I'm watching History Channel. It's about a Mafia thing, and I'm watching it. And all of a sudden, the very beginning of the show,
there he is.
Boom.
He pops up.
He's the guy the show's about. The guy.
Oh my gosh. Did you just lose? Did you try to contact him?
We're talking about he's shot people and was this huge drug pen and brought down the Colombo crime family. I mean, people aren't going to try hard to figure this out, and I'll show you guys who he is afterwards. And as soon as it starts, he comes on, and I stand up off of my couch. I'm like, what the? Oh! And like I'm going crazy, and I think I called a couple of my buddies that I lived with right before then and told them about Mike. I was like, Mike's on TV. Hey, you got to get on and watch him. And so the whole show goes off, and I see the show, and it's just mind blowing, just because this guy that did this, and we were friends. Buddy with him. Yeah, and I always thought he was just a goofball, like a poser, and so another time goes by, and me and my buddies are out in Old Town at Spanish Fly, something like that.
It used to be called
it's something like that. But, and we're out on the porch.
You ran into him, didn't you?
Mike comes up.
Oh, no.
After I've seen this episode.
Oh, my gosh. Did you
He's like, Chris, and he's doing the whole thing. And he's like, I got a barbecue. Yeah, I got a barbecue coming up. Come over. He's like, and I might still have his number. I might have deleted his number, but I might still have his number in my phone.
Like,
and I was like, all right, Mike.
I'll be there.
All right. And so he's like, I'll text you the address and this and that, blah, blah, blah. And so he texts me to come to the barbecue after that night at Spanish Fly, and I just never responded. Never did anything else, because I'm like, this dude is in Arizona being looked for.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's obviously non-witness protection, because on the History Channel they were using his name, and that's the name he used with me. So I don't know. I mean, he might just be here or whatever, but this is also 15 years later, or whatever it is. This happened in the mid 90s. 1994 is when this thing started on the History Channel, and it had lasted a couple of years. So 10 or whatever years later, and so I didn't go, and that was just a crazy situation. Nothing that affected me directly, but astonishing,
terrifying.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a number you save, to make sure you don't answer it.
But I wasn't gonna go to a barbecue and get
exactly.
Yeah, he never was showing up there.
Did he ever smash the dude's face in with a baseball bat?
No, he never did, because that guy moved to New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah, funny enough.
Moved to New York to get away from the...
Well, he moved to New York because he got a job at some club there that was, some
fitness club or whatever. Yeah.
So anyways, that's my Mafia story.
Jeez,
and
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just sitting there training them, the whole time.
Yeah.
Just think of, everyone knows that sometimes you can be a hothead. Like, imagine if you went off on him one day.
Well, no, I think fist to, straight up, no baseball bats. I would.
I just mean you would have went off on him, yelled at him one day during training, and then he showed up after baseball.
No, because he obviously is a psycho. Obviously has a little bit of violent tendencies if you shot people and
you thought he was just some goober and you snapped on him one day and then he's waiting in the parking lot with a baseball.
If I was you, Chris, I'd be sitting here thinking how many jokes or conversations did I have with him that probably shouldn't have happened. If I'd known that was you, I probably would have never said that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
We're glad that didn't go down.
Yeah. No, that was what I'm 30. I'm gonna be 35 this month. So that was 10 years ago, even now.
Jeez.
When I was training him, it just flies by.
That's crazy, man.
It does. Yeah. So hopefully he's alive and well. But yeah, man. So I think that's anything else you got, Mikey?
No.
Besides some healthy habits that you're picking up, what else you got? Because I know that you said 2019 is going to be your healthiest year to date. So you got the water chugging.
Yep.
You got you're doing some weight vest Sundays, or actually,
Saturdays.
And we've done a active recovery together on Sunday, and you're keeping that going.
Yes, sir.
Or Saturdays on the weight vest. Which one?
Yeah. I do the 5 days a week, and then I've got a 6 mile jog and hike, a nice light pace, but with the nice 20-pound vest that my company got me. Thank you for that super awesome patch that I added to it this morning. Dude. And Sundays, I'm just so motivated and determined right now, that I don't want to rest, so.
Which is important to rest.
Yeah.
So we're teaching you about how to really do active recovery.
Right.
Exactly. How to stay in zones and get the blood and oxygen flowing without taxing the nervous system.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping to improve my endurance and just the capacity of I really should be doing your course, Corey.
Yeah, dude. Next time, sign up, man.
Yeah, but I feel like I can throw some weight around, but I do not have an engine. I'm full speed or I'm super super slow, and so I'm trying to learn how to pace myself better.
You got a bolt in your leg. Yeah, it probably causes some pain in your runs. I know, and then webbing in your stomach.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's. When you get an emergency surgery like that, your scar tissue heals internally. It's different. It heals kind of it's when you're carving a pumpkin.
Yeah.
That's so it's kind of like a web. Uh-huh. So what stinks about that is that your intestines, your bowels, they're always moving.
Yeah.
No matter whether you're eating or not, they're always moving. And that scar tissue never just stops. It's always adjusting and modifying. So I have these unfortunate experiences where, out of nowhere, my intestine will get caught in a knot because my scar tissue wraps around it, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's the worst thing.
I remember you're going through that quite a bit a couple years ago.
I had 3 in 1 year. I haven't had one since.
So that was 2 or 3 years ago, where it was holy moly.
Yeah, and they're the worst because all you can do is wait them out, and then I'm not gonna, I don't want to get myself in trouble by trying to compare it to what I would imagine. Pregnancy pain would feel like. I'll never know, thankfully, but it was I would imagine that it's got to be something like that bad. I would sit there, I would turn to a heat pad, I would turn to we had this stimulator, an electric thing I would put on to try and get my muscles to contract certain ways to try and get it to loosen it up, and because you would have to lay there through the night and it would come in waves, and there were some points where it was just so bad you couldn't even stand up. It was horrible. And the worst part is if it didn't come undone in a certain time, because the only way to treat it is you have to fast, cold turkey, stop eating, because you need to you got to flush everything out so that it loosens up. So it just stinks. Like if it didn't pass, then you get hospitalized. And the first method is that they put a tube in, your nasal cavity, and they try and basically unlock from this way, because nothing's passing that way, like, and then it results in surgery.
Oh man, dude, do you remember having like those weird kids that would like the weird kid in school that would like snort the noodle up their nose and like bring it out of their mouth?
Oh gosh, oh man, you're gonna make me sick.
Yeah, that's what that reminds me of. And like,
so it's tough, I still deal with it. I had hernia issues, and I had You totally made me remember. Like, I forgot all about that.
I remember.
Persevere, man, push through.
You do. You definitely do remember everything. You remember everyone's like. I mean, my one rep max is better than I do.
Yeah, he knows all that
I'm
stuff.
super serious. He'll come up to me and be like, "Hey, what are you going for today?" And I'm like,
145, 215.
I gotta go check. And Chris is like, "This is what it is."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You're the man."
Yeah.
That's one of the very few things I can do is remember people's weights.
Yeah. Really good in fitness windows.
All right, so we'll keep you accountable on the Saturday weight vest, the active recovery Sunday, the water chugging.
For sure, man.
Are you done with that book yet?
No, man. You know what? I'm trying, all right? I'm working my best way through it.
I'm on book 4.
Yeah, you read.
Actually, at book 5, because I'm reading a fasting book, too.
And the Mafia book.
I got a question for you, Chris. Were you reading that many books a year back when the gym was like first starting?
No.
That's what.
No.
Okay.
I read a lot, so like I think for the past probably 5 years my reading has increased substantially. But when Blade 2012,
you're in there like full time.
Yeah,
That's all you did, right?
There was no reading. Yeah. It was Eat, Sleep, Blade. There was reading. I was reading, but not like I am today. And then even before Blade, I was putting in 12 hours a day at my other job every day, so there wasn't a lot there either. But I've gotten a little bit more time lately. So,
well, I just think like. Because I'm super jealous. Anytime you post, I want to read. Like, I love reading, but I don't have the time. And I'm like, man, I can't tell Chris I don't have the time to read because he's going to be like, make time. Like, you want to read, you'll read. And I'm thinking, I'm building a business with my friends, like our company is like, they own it, but I run it, and like I want them to succeed and accomplish their dreams. Some people like to work for people, some people like to own it and build it. So I love the company I work for, but I work a lot, a lot. Yeah. The gym is like the one time I'm not, and I'm like, man, I can never find time to read. So I just wondered, like, how did you do it, man? How did you read all of those books, with so little time?
Well, I just sacrifice sleep for reading is the problem.
There you go.
I should sleep more.
That's the trick.
But reading helps me shut off my brain to be able to go to sleep. So it's kind of hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And so they work hand in hand. But when the baby comes, people are like, you're not going to be reading anymore. I'm like, watch. I'll be reading. But if I can't get enough sleep, I think then I'll probably sacrifice the reading a little bit just because I know how good sleep is for me. But yeah, so that's what I do. And if I commit to something, reading a minimum chapter of a book a day, just like I haven't had a warm shower in all month.
So you're doing the cold showers now, right?
Straight up cold. It's non-factor. Now it's no factor. It's open. It's turn the cold shower on and get in. And so it's just the commitment factor and holding, it's like, that's one, I can do that too, is stick to something and you got to do it, so, and that took years. It takes training. It takes inspiration. It takes listening to people that are more inspiring than me and reading about those people, reading a book called Fearless about Adam Brown, who was addicted to meth and passed the hardest elite sniper school in the country as a Navy SEAL, got shot, blew his hand off, passed the sniper school. There's people out there that do amazing things, and you got to read about those people, and that'll get you to do amazing things. So
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Sweet, man.
Awesome. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much, Mikey, for coming on and sharing.
Thanks, Mikey. You're the man.
Thank you, guys. Seriously, it was really nice. I'm grateful.
Beautiful.
Awesome,
guys, if you can support us, you can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, watch us on YouTube. If you do watch us on YouTube, please like the video and leave us a review on SoundCloud or on iTunes. It'll help get this show around so more people can hear it. Appreciate you guys.
Any questions, shoot us an email, Corey@CrossFitBlade.com. See you later.